So I finally finished my first ever Souls-like game. First ever finished, not the first one I ever played. I already tried playing Elden Ring. I did a build that didn't work out very well, so I just stopped playing it, never finished it. So this is the first one I actually finished. The only reason I even played this game was thanks to Game Pass. Saw the game on it, looked at the graphics, looked at the theme, looked cool, so I tried it. Then while I was playing it, it actually went off of Xbox Game Pass. So then I bought it on Steam and kept playing it. I've done quite a few games now, where I just try the game out on Xbox Game Pass, basically use it as a demo, and then buy it on Steam or somewhere else, which is pretty nice. One of the things I appreciate more and more as I play older games compared to the new ones that are all on UE5 is the way, how well they run, and also how they don't need any kind of DLSS or frame gen to have good FPS. Like, this game looks beautiful, runs really well, looks clean, doesn't have any blurry textures or any kind of ghosting on the animations. It has all the settings you would expect, so you can change all the settings you want. Even if you're on a low-end PC, you can customize the settings for yourself and it'll run probably very well. So as I said, I started on Xbox, then they removed the game from the Xbox Game Pass, so I had to transfer my saves from Xbox to Steam, which for some reason is an actual freaking nightmare. In most other launchers, or basically all launchers, you have one folder where your saves are saved. You maybe have one autosave file, one backup file, a couple of other files, and your main save file, the latest one, the last one. But for some reason, in the Xbox, it's always so complicated doing anything on the Xbox app. They have 10 folders, all of them are different saves, none of them are named in any way that is understandable. They're just numbers, and you just have to guess which one is the latest or the last save. Just trial and error. It's all kind of an unrelated fact, but yeah, I hate it. How just Microsoft does stuff on the Xbox app and in general. Took me a bit, but I managed to transfer my saves from Xbox to Steam, and then actually, got back to playing the game, which I played mostly with dodge at first. So at first I watched streams of people playing Dark Souls and other Souls-like, and always basically saw them dodging. That's what I thought I had to do. I thought I had to play the game, so I just did that at first. Just dodge all the attacks, and didn't really use parry, which it works just fine. It's just that it's kind of heavy on the stamina. You just have to manage that. But other than that, it works just fine. But then I came to a boss. I think I don't remember exactly which one, but I was kind of struggling on him, struggling to kill him, do damage. So I just tried, I thought I would just try something different. So I tried parrying, and it works just so much better because it builds up the stun that you build up on enemies. I don't know what's called exactly in this game, but basically the enemy is down for a couple of seconds and you do a big crit attack. So I started doing that, and it's in terms of damage, it's so much better because you just get the stun, and also you don't have to jump around all the time. You can just stand there and just parry everything, and also it looks super fucking cool. It sounds amazing. Just listen to this. Just when you get multiple parries in a row, it just feels amazing. Also, I like that they have the parry, the perfect parry, but you also have the normal parry where you don't get the timing perfect. You still block some of the damage, and also you get to recover some of the HP, which is pretty cool. It makes it so you're not afraid to try to parry the attacks, and also get better at them, and not get punished too hardly for trying to try something new or more difficult than the dodge. I was pretty lucky with my weapon. I think it's pretty much the first weapon you get in the game when you start, the sword. And I just wanted a weapon that was pretty quick. I don't like playing with a heavy weapon. It takes a very long time to attack. So I just got the sword, which is pretty quick and it does decent damage. So I just went through the whole game with it. I upgraded just the handle, I think, was called, or whatever it's called, and change it to motivity, I think, to scale the damage, and it worked very well. I never thought I was lacking in damage. Actually, I think there were points where I was like way too invested in damage and I was kind of lacking stamina and a little bit of HP. But with the equipable stuff, the amulets, and the rings and everything, I ended up getting a lot of damage and HP. Not a lot of HP, but I was able to survive even the big attacks, like even the big slams. I could get hit by them at least twice. For the weapons, I did try a few other weapons just to see maybe I would like them more. I tried a fire-based, I think they were daggers. I tried another decay-based damage weapon. There was a big axe. I tried two-handed axe, but all of them either didn't have enough range or they were too slow for my liking. So I just kept going with the sword, upgraded it all as much as possible as soon as I could, which I also like. You get to upgrade a lot of stones for the upgrades, so you can actually try different weapons and not feel too bad about them and worry about the stones and the currency you need to upgrade the weapons. I also got lucky with the arm. You start off with the hook. I tried the other ones. I tried the lightning one, and there's another one that I tried but didn't really like them. I just like being able to pull smaller enemies towards me, and also sometimes on the bosses, jumping on them with the hook, which you get with the upgrade, which is really nice when the bosses are just jumping around, or the bosses are doing big slam attacks and you run away. It's nice to like be able to pull yourself towards the enemy, the boss, quickly. Another thing I just loved about this game was that the maps weren't too big, and also you could just explore and go into every corner. There was something to pick up. It wasn't always something big, but there was like some consumable or some kind of currency there to pick up. In terms of equipment, you have a few things you can equip, especially like an amulet you can get, rings, and then there are the defense parts, which are cartridges, converters, frames, liners. They all give you resistances. Each equipable item has a weight, and the whole system is based around the weight, so you can be overburdened, and you can increase the weight you can carry through the passives or even items. And each one of those is specialized. One is gonna be good against shock, one is gonna be good against fire damage and burn, or physical damage. And there's some items you can buy from the vendors. As you go through the game, you unlock new stuff from the vendors. Also the bosses, whenever you do a boss at the end of an area, it drops you an item that gives you resistances for the next area. And these are usually converters that are good against the damage that is most common in the next area. And there's not really much of a choice because you have to equip that item because it has the resistance you need for the area. So you basically just, and it's pretty much the best item for that resistance. This game also has a passive system where you can upgrade your heart with these quartz you find throughout the game. Didn't find it to be that interesting. It's either you do more damage with the stagger, you block more damage. It's also stuff related to consumables, make them last longer, or you can carry more of them. And I didn't really use any of the consumables, so I didn't really care for any of that. The only thing I really cared about was the flask charges. By the end of the game I had like 9 charges, which was pretty nice. But I don't even think I maxed out all the upgrades I could get, and I didn't really care enough to go back and max it out because the upgrades just weren't that interesting. In terms of the characters, they're all very interesting. I was kind of disappointed that there was no lip syncing. There is like sometimes mouth movement, but it's not really synced. But there are cutscenes which are very, very well done. And with those characters, there are some actual choices to make, which I was not expecting at all, but it was cool. I don't really know how much it affects the game or the end result, really. Probably not much, but I'm actually gonna go look it up and see if it makes a difference, the different choices you had. The weapon durability was a mechanic in this game, but not really. I think I had to go back and repair my weapon once. Other than that, you have an item that can repair the item on the go. Even that I barely used. Every time you respawn or go back to the spawn points, it repairs your weapon. So you basically never have to actually manually repair the weapons unless you're going on long runs without going back to the spawn, which pretty much I never did. Like, I wasn't trying to go back to spawn points looking for them. I just would go through the game and never really went long enough for me to have to repair the weapon. This game has some very cool and unique looking bosses, which I expected from a Souls-like game. I like always see clips and like montages or even edits, especially of Elden Ring and Dark Souls bosses, and they always look so fucking cool with their dialogue and their visuals. All the bosses have pretty well telegraphed attacks, and the variety of bosses is pretty good. There's some really big bosses with huge slam attacks, and there's also bosses like this, which are basically human shaped or human sized, about your size. And these bosses are found to be usually harder to fight than the bigger ones, because with the bigger ones you can go under them and dodge attacks by just going behind them usually, which was, I found, like the easiest way to avoid the big attacks and the big like slash attacks like this one. But the bigger bosses were a lot cooler looking, a lot more unique. And with each boss it was pretty clear what kind of damage they did. You could just tell by their attacks and by the even look. So fire based or decay based or whatever. It was pretty like easy to tell, which was pretty cool. For the bosses there's also a summon mechanic that you have to use the stars currency, some kind of stars, whatever, stardust. I didn't really use them up until the last couple of bosses, so I used them on the rabbit gang bosses simply because I just hate fighting multiple enemies in this game, and that boss fight is just 3 enemies going at you once, and I did not find that to be fun, so I just did the summon, went through it pretty quick, and it was quite a bit easier with the summon. That was one I did it on, and I think maybe Laxia, but I ended up doing Laxia without the summon because I didn't even kill the boss the one time I did the summon. I do like the summons. It's a cool way to help people who are struggling on the bosses. You can also just use it a couple of times to see the attacks and learn the attacks of the boss and then do it solo. So I like it. It's a cool addition. Another thing I didn't really understand and kind of hated at times was the spawn points. For some reason they decided not to put the respawn point right in front of the bosses. So quite a lot of the bosses are like 30 seconds, a minute of running away from the spawn point, which I don't really understand what the point of that is. It feels especially bad if you get hit or get killed on the way to the boss because you forgot some enemy in the corner. It's possible I missed some shortcuts and could have gone there faster, but at the same time it's still not. They could have just put it right in front of the boss. So this right here is me running to the rabbit gang boss. It's about like 20 or 30 seconds of running, and there's 2 enemies on the way, and yeah, there were a few enemies that I found to be just kind of unfair. Not unfair, but just annoying to play against. For example, any kind of ranged enemy. It's one of the reasons I kept the hook, because I could hook and pull the enemies towards me, the ranged enemies, because they're just annoying to play against. They're far away from you, sometimes they're on the high ground and you can't really hit them, so the hook was a great way to like kind of deal with them. It's also that enemy with a rake, I think it's called a rake, where he just kind of charges you, and if you don't either dodge or parry him, especially at the start of the game, he can just one shot you. And sometimes he's hidden around a freaking corner, which is just, that's not difficulty, it's just annoying. You just have to freaking check every corner, and if you don't, you might just die. He might just push you off the ledge and you die. Those kind of deaths are just annoying, not fun, and kind of makes you want to quit. especially if you die to a boss and you get going back to the boss, and on the way he's somehow like, I don't know, forget the enemy or don't see the enemy and he kills you. I mean, really, those times are tough. Like, I had to take a break a couple times. That happened. Also, fighting multiple enemies with the combat system of this game, it's just not fun. That is probably just a skill issue. I find it to be pretty annoying and kind of hard to manage. Maybe it's different with different weapons. Maybe with large weapons you shouldn't probably hit multiple enemies at once. Even then, you have to like dodge their attacks or parry them, which is not easy. Even with the few annoying enemies and weird placement of the spawn points for the bosses, the game was still very fun to play. Otherwise I wouldn't have finished it, especially a game like this, Souls-like, which is pretty difficult. So I had a fun experience. I was expecting it to be a little harder actually. I thought I would probably quit the game before I finished it, like Elden Ring. But Elden Ring I just wasn't having fun anymore with the build. I'd go try that again. And I'll probably do that. But I was gonna do that, but now that the DLC is out, I'll probably do that first. Finish it off before I leave this game for good.